Okay, I was so curious on this. I haven't seen this, but this channel is absolute money. The Evil Food Supply, and it's titled The Sad Reality of School Cafeteria Food. And I could just remember my school cafeteria food with like mac and cheese on some days. What was the other one? The horrendous burger with the ketchup and mustard packets and mayo just to make it taste like something. We're basically eating poison.
The country are posting images of what's on the menu at their schools in a new phenomenon called lunch shaming.
Cafeteria food has always been the butt of jokes, but this isn't funny.
How is that milk?
Look at what they're giving us at lunch.
Students, disgusted by what they're being served, are taking their beef online. Can you even tell what this is? Apparently, it's supposed to be a chicken cheesesteak sandwich.
Look at this. This is the main meal.
Time out. Chicken cheesesteak. What is that? What chicken cheese steak? Holy shit. Oh my God, bro. We're feeding our youth this and we're surprised they grow up, at least in America, and we're surprised they grow up with like patchy beards, skinny fat, morbidly obese, all these problems.
Look at this. This is the main meal. It looks like puke and applesauce.
Evie cut into her food and it was all pink. So while I was eating my chicken sandwich, I finally looked into it and it had like pink lines running through it. It was just bright pink. The orange was cut into and it was moldy and black and gross. It was horrible.
I was eating the chips and then I look in the bag and there's like this fried little black thing in there. Don't know what it was. It was really gross. Like I just stopped eating after that.
You know, we're in a serious decline if we don't give a shit about what our children are eating. And this is a public service too, by the way. We pay taxes for this. We fund this with tax money. And this is how our officials are using our revenue for school lunches.
School lunch is sometimes it's okay. Other times I just don't know what I'm eating.
We'll be in school for like till 4 o'clock, and then when we do have lunch, it's at 1 o'clock. So people be hungry. So I'm getting online, got my food, and it was on this tortilla bed. And I didn't know what it was. So that's the worst kind of food, when you don't know what it is, and it doesn't even look good. Couldn't eat it. My conscience wouldn't let me.
There are 17 million American children that could literally go hungry every day that they're not in school because the only access they get to food at all is school food.
When I go down there and we're serving it, I know that I don't want to eat it and that I don't think it's healthy, but yet I'm serving it to 600 kids.
50% of children between the ages of 2 and 15 have fatty streaks in their arteries, and this is literally the beginning stages of heart disease.
And if they're eating junk food in schools, then the schools are telling them that that's okay. It's
I wouldn't even feed my dog this kind of shit, man. This is crazy.
appropriate. It's what happens in schools. That's not right.
We've had officials in the Department of Education, in the Office of School Food, tell us that they have to keep their numbers up for the lunches, that they're in the business of serving lunch, and they want to give the children what they want.
Schools typically have no idea where most of the food that they're serving children comes from.
Ah, yes. American school lunches. While countries like France are feeding their kids stuff like this.
Scallops with a curry sauce.
Curry sauce avec de la crème fraîche.
Wow. And what, carrots?
Ça, c'est la coquille de Saint-Jacques.
Oh, okay.
Bro, French kids are eating shellfish delicacies, and ours are eating something that doesn't resemble food. Okay. Land of the free, home of the brave. Democracy, baby.
This was just the appetizer.
It's a 4-course meal. Kids will start off with some grapefruit here, followed by veal with prunes and mushrooms, organic, and spinach and rice, also.
Orc slop. That's what this shit reminds me of. They're feeding our kids orc slop.
Organic. Then they'll have some cheese because this is France after all. And for dessert, an organic banana.
Over here in America, we have fond memories of soggy rectangular pizza, chocolate milk in a plastic bag, smiley French fries dipped in seed oil-filled ketchup. Nachos drenched in that signature cheese-like substance. And if you were a rich kid, maybe you could even afford the coveted Domino's pizza slice.
Domino's pizza. I like Domino's. So good, I'm gonna eat it. Amazing.
When you see what's in the cafeterias now, you can't blame the lunch workers. They don't have anything but an Alto-Shaam to heat food up to a safe temperature, and it's barely food at that.
You got Sloppy Joe, barbecue sauce with pork.
Whatever happened to cooks actually cooking?
It's easy to come in here. This is the best tool we got right here. Box open.
That's your chef's tools.
That's it. Open up a box. Serve it. Give it to them.
Yeah. Out of the course of an entire month, 6 out of 36. You're only cooking 6 out of 36 meals.
But why? Why is American school lunch this disgusting?
Let me guess, bro. Profit. We got to even profit off our kids' health. Why not? Because this is capitalism, baby. Market freedom.
Schools tell us that they're seeing a 50% increase in the amount of lunchroom trash.
Kids are now throwing away twice as much food as last year.
Waste goes up. Waste goes up about 97%.
We visited a school in suburban Chicago just this month where middle schoolers analyzed their lunch waste and were shocked to find 46 boxes of unopened pears.
They're all unopened, totally unopened.
If the youth are our future, why are schools knowingly force-feeding our youth the worst possible food on this planet?
One of the things that we're surprised by was a particular kind of chicken. This is meat from egg-laying birds that have been retired, that are no longer producing eggs, and nobody really uses them much on the commercial market.
Wow. We're feeding our kids meat from egg-laying hens that don't even have value as real chicken meat in the open market and grocery stores. Is that a fucking pallet of frozen chickens? Is this chickens that have been squished into cubes on a pallet? What the fuck?
Market, even Kentucky Fried Chicken to McDonald's declines to buy this stuff. It is in.
Damn. You what? Kentucky Fried Chicken and McDonald's declines to buy this shit, but it's good enough for our kids. I'm telling you, just like the more you read into America, the worse it is to raise a family here. It's fucking insane.
The McDonald's declines to buy this stuff. It is in some cases commonly sold to the pet food industry.
Okay, I knew it. We're feeding our kids pet food, quality food, truly. If it's even pet food. How many kids get sick? And we can't even blame it on the school food because, like, that's the kid's only meal. At least with dog food, they have a fucking recall and give you your money back on the shit.
School lunch program, bought a lot of it. Tried using it in patties, using it in salads and that kind of thing.
Well, school lunches have a long and profitable history in America. And to answer that question, we need to take a trip back to World War II.
This could be the first generation of children in the United States that lives less than its parents.
Nobody is safe from the dangers of the child obesity epidemic.
Food is the ultimate life.
Someone egg-laying hens usually die from disease and not old age. That's why they don't buy it. I've eaten birds that stopped laying, but they were just stew meat at home raised. Fucking hell.
But a close runner-up is Grammarly Go. Grammarly Go is a product that offers personalized generative AI reply. And then you can use evil food. The year is 1945. America had just won World War II, but America was about to enter another war. The Cold War. And in order to have a fraction of a chance of winning, the US military knew they would need the strongest, toughest men available. But surprisingly, they couldn't really find any. See, before World War II, the US...
This makes sense too. Remember when you're watching all that black and white footage of what men used to look like in the 30s and the 40s, and everybody's all fucking handsome looking and fucking chiseled jaws and physiques look nice and they all look like they could be models and shit. Do you remember that? The men and the women just look completely different. There's even this one picture of like the 70s, a beach in 70s America where everybody's skinny. They look great. And now look at what an average high schooler looks like. They look like overgrown children, like Puberty's been pushed back, delayed in some way. Like adult characteristics are not the same anymore. You got these weird, like, no chin motherfuckers, patchy beards everywhere. Again, obesity, skinny fat, just horrendous looking bodies. Women, same shit. They're dealing with a ton of issues on their end.
Just came out of a devastating depression. You know the one. After eating a solid diet of water pies, peanut loaves, and canned prunes for 10 years, the men of America were looking not so hot. So General Lewis B. Hershey, a former school principal who joined the armed forces before World War I, went in front of the House Agriculture Committee to deliver a stern warning. General Hershey was head of the military draft system, and he warned that 40% of military recruits were failing their physical exams due to malnutrition.
See?
And with impending war on the horizon with the Soviet Union, if the government didn't do something about this fast, the US might never stand a chance. So the government came to the rescue, and they launched an emergency nationwide feeding program called the National School Lunch Act. In their eyes, the National School Lunch Act was a matter of national security to safeguard the health and well-being of the nation's children. And it would ensure that the government had more effective pawns that could be used in the war machine. See? Everybody wins. So the government started sending food to schools all over the US. And where did they get this food? Farm surpluses. Whatever farmers had too much of, they would ship it to schools and the kids would eat. There was no need for a balanced diet. This was wartime.
Damn, did you see that? Look at what they were eating right back then. Those are steaks. They're eating steaks and looks like mashed potatoes, fresh stuff. These kids, these are the kids that are probably looking good. They're ready to make soldiers, baby. We're prepping for war. Look at this kid. Is this milk? This is milk out of a glass bottle. Fresh. Look at all these kids drinking fresh milk. Probably not homogenized. Who knows?
Diet. This was wartime. It was all about using what the nation had, maximizing calories and breeding good little soldiers. And guess what? The program actually worked. The children got stronger.
Look at that shit.
Became one of the big.
Look at this dude.
Program actually worked. The children got
You don't see physiques like this, and all of them were built like this. All of it tied to food. Now, you'd be hard-pressed. Now, it's a gym bro. Only gym bros. They have to do intense dieting, intense workouts to even achieve this shit, which was an easy, like, calisthenic, mostly workout. And dudes were just fucking shredded high schoolers. Okay.
Stronger. And America became one of the biggest military superpowers in the world. And as the decades went on, the National School Lunch Program would just keep getting bigger and bigger. And soon, what started as a way to groom nourished soldiers of war turned into a political tool.
There are poor children in the country that can't afford lunch. Free school lunches are a basic human right. Vote for me and I'll give it to them.
And vote they did. By 1969, 15% of American children were getting a school lunch for free or at a highly discounted price. And in the mid-1970s, Richard Nixon poured even more money into the school lunch program. So now, the standard was set. Parents were used to their kids getting fed at school. Parents now expected schools to keep feeding their children no matter what. And those same schools were now dependent on the government to keep sending them money for lunches. There was no going back. So when there was a giant funding cut for the National School Lunch Program in 1981, American public schools.
There it is. The downfall in 81. The funding cut. Yes. That's when we stopped giving a fuck. It's probably when America was like, we're way ahead of the Soviet Union. Don't need this shit. Got to get voted in. Let's start cutting some stuff. Okay.
Schools were left in a bit of a pickle.
There he is, man of the hour, eh?
The fact is, we'll never build a lasting economic recovery by going deeper into debt at a faster rate than we ever have before.
Is this the trickle down, man? It's going to trickle down, baby. Don't worry.
In 1981, US President Ronald Reagan cut funding for the National School Lunch Program by around 25%, which was a massive number. Now, schools couldn't afford to feed 1 out of every 4 students. So the ripple effects were massive. schools were left with less money to spend on food, wages, and equipment while still having to feed the same number of mouths. So schools either had to find a way to reduce costs fast, or they would have.
So this is where we transition from for the people to for the company. Yeah, exactly.
To
for the
shrink lunch
corporation.
portions, reducing the number of poor children eligible for free or reduced lunch, or famously declare that ketchup was a vegetable in order to meet nutrition standards, as recommended by the government. But as they say, massive problems offer massive opportunities to make money. And as a big food conglomerate, this was your perfect opportunity to swoop in to save America's youth.
Ah, here comes the corporations. All about the bottom line. Of course, this is how the story goes. We privatized this shit, baby. Yeah, it's going to be far more efficient than public service. Privatize everything. Corporations will do a far better job. They care about our kids. It's not all about the money.
As a big food conglomerate, you obviously want to make as much money as you possibly can. But
Oh,
the
you
problem
do?
is, every adult in America already knows about your products. They already know about your lunch meats and junk food. There's no more money to be made in that demographic. So you have to target the next generation, the kids. And this giant school lunch budget crisis was your perfect way in.
And when you look at lunch, we have about $1.50 to spend on actual food.
That's it.
That's it. Is that enough?
I think it's very, very difficult.
So here's what you did. You formed special exclusivity deals with American schools to get your junk food onto their lunch tables. And for every can of soda or bag of chips sold by the schools to those unsuspecting youngsters, the school got a generous cut. This
Revolving door here. We're going to pay you to feed our kids chips and soda. Ah, great.
was a genius move. Not only did this help alleviate the school's funding problem, but it also incentivized schools to peddle your product.
And then someone said, corporatism is not capitalism. If there's no competition, then it's not capitalism. Yeah, unfortunately, this is part of capitalism, what you're seeing, because the program that actually worked was socialism, ironically, government funded to produce the strongest soldiers for a future global war with the Soviet Union. That was the interest of the nation put first. That's socialism. Most of America's greatest programs and anything that it's passed regarding society is basically socialism based. It's funny as fuck, dude, to see it. And Americans can't wrap their head around something like Social Security. It's socialism. What's your old ass gonna do when you retire at 67 and waiting on that check, baby? All of a sudden. Fucking wild, dude. Oh my God.
But it wasn't just soda and junk food companies that benefited.
The free market will save us all.
If you were a bulk food manufacturer.
By the way, I don't give a fuck about socialism or capitalism. It's just a stepping stone to whatever the next form. Yeah, what do you think a pension is? No shit. It's just a stepping stone to whatever amalgamation of governance we have coming down the pipeline. That should be better than both. But yeah, free market my ass. There's always the people that get to the top of the free market and then gatekeep everybody else out of competition. You always have to have socialist rail guards in place to keep capitalism in check, or else power essentially concentrates at the tippy top and bullies everybody out of competition. It's just natural. They're called monopolies.
Like US Foods, Tyson, and Cisco during this time, you were also in luck. Because without government funding, schools no longer had the money to train actual chefs. So what other...
And as I said, America was great at one point, ironically, when it had the most socialistic policies and when it had the most income equality was in like the 50s, 60s, where America peaked. That's when income inequality was the most even.
Other choice did these schools have but to buy frozen, highly processed, factory-made food from you. So now, big food companies like Cisco that made food for hospitals and prisons were now also nourishing America's youth. Hospital and prison food. Now that sounds tasty. Trained cooks were replaced by the iconic minimum wage lunch ladies.
It's easy to come in here. This is the best tool we got right here.
We went from trained cooks to the best tool I got for cooking is a box cutter. Got to save that money, baby. Capitalism working. That's the free market right there. They got her hired on minimum wage. That is max efficiency in the free market. They're paying her the absolute bare minimum, probably what is federally allowed, or else they would go even lower. Yeah. Whatever the federal minimum wage is, socialism, that's what they're paying her. Oh yeah, race to the bottom, baby. I don't know what the fuck system we need. It's a very nuanced topic. I just know both of the systems we have suck at the moment. It's just the best we've gotten in the history so far, but it sure as hell isn't the end game.
Box opener.
That's your chef's tool, the box cutter.
That's it. Open up a box. Serve it. Give it to him.
Yeah.
And from that moment forward, school lunches just slowly kept degrading into the sad, processed, chemical-filled state.
Someone said socialism comes at a cost. The food program could not be financially continued. Nothing is free. That's a fucking bullshit statement to the max, GB. They cut it politically. First of all, we just sent how many hundreds of billions of dollars to Ukraine? You don't think we have money for fucking food programs for children? You think it was too expensive financially? Really? Let's look at this bullshit up real quick. How much does America spend a year on school lunch? Here you go, brother. This is your bullshit statement right in your face. Take a look. $28 billion right now. 28. That's all. That's it. Hold on. Have we sent to Ukraine? Oh, directed more than 75 billion. Look at that. Wow. So all of a sudden we got some money to send. How much money does the United States send in foreign aid every year? $49 billion was sent out in 2019. Oh, look at that. $51 billion. The number goes up. We have $51 billion that go out to foreign aid. Foreign aid. Look at that. Look, the disbursements right here. Let me make it bigger. $51 billion in 2020. Countries that receive the most foreign aid. Look at where your money's going. Would you look at that? Afghanistan, we give them $3 billion, $4 billion. Israel, of all countries, Israel needs $3 billion. Wow. You see? Here you go. There's your money. There's 19 pages of aid that we send out, and you're telling me we don't have money for our fucking kids. Unreal. Great.
That it's in today. But not to worry, because all this garbage food technically still meets USDA standards. As a big food conglomerate, if you really want your ultra-processed pizza or lunch meat or chips to be served in cafeterias across the nation, you need to play by the government's rules. Specifically, the rules set up by the USDA. The USDA decided exactly how much sodium, sugar, and fat is allowed in each cafeteria item. And up until 2010, their rules were pretty slack. I mean, kids were basically eating airplane food for lunch. Clearly, the government wasn't monitoring things too closely. But as the years went by, the USDA started to notice that school children were getting, well, fatter. According to the Department of Defense, more recruits were being turned away for obesity than any other reason. And between the years of 1980 and 2009, obesity rates in teenagers went from 5% to 18%. Maybe it's because kids have been eating food laced with seed oils and toxic chemicals for the past 30 years, but hey, that's just a theory. So the government came to the rescue again, and the USDA tightened its requirements. Now, instead of schools having to offer just one serving of fruits and vegetables at every meal, schools had to at least give students 2 fruit and vegetable servings to choose from. The students would be required to take at least one of them. And instead of serving white bread, schools had to serve bread that was at least 50% whole grain. And finally, snacks and entrees needed to be significantly lower in salt, sugar, and fat. Interestingly enough, nowhere in these historic changes did the USDA ever mention a word about reducing the amount of artificial ingredients in school lunches. But regardless, the cafeteria wars had begun. And as a huge corporation whose business model entirely relies on food that's high in salt, sugar, and fat, this is not what you wanted to hear. Now you needed to find a way around all these stupid school lunch rules before another food company takes your place. So, what did you do? You found a loophole, of course. According to the USDA, every school lunch meal needs to contain at least 1 serving of fruits and vegetables. Okay, but what if you're a company like Domino's and want to serve your pizza slices as a full meal? Pizza is one of the most profitable school lunches for big food, raking in $500 million every year. We can't just give up pizza.
So we're profiting on pizza alone $500 million. So these people are making money. They are profiting. This isn't a net cost, like a net cost for, say, the taxpayers. There is revenue. This is insane. Somebody is making hundreds of millions of dollars feeding our kids shit. It's not like we're losing. We're not sinking in fucking insane costs just to feed kids because, hey, it's kids, society's duty to feed them. No, there's people making money. Money.
But one slice of pizza definitely doesn't contain a whole serving of fruits and vegetables, right? Or does it? Think about it like this. One slice of pizza has around 2 tablespoons of...
Man, that's just fucking insane. And they really went with this loophole. You know where he's going. They're going to say that pizza has a full serving of veggies or some bullshit. Veggies and fruits. Fuck me, dude. This country never ceases to amaze me on the amount of bullshittery that goes on.
Pizza sauce on it. And those 2 tablespoons of pizza sauce have been cooked down from a larger amount of tomatoes, right? So really, that little bit of pizza sauce is equal to 8 tablespoons of raw tomatoes, which equals 1 serving of vegetables under the USDA guidelines. And
great.
Boom. Schwan Food Company's iconic rectangle pizza, or Domino's Smart Slice, are now officially USDA school lunch approved. And what about the low sodium thing? Hey, no problem. No need to reformulate or lower the actual amount of sodium. Just package your chips into smaller bags. That way each serving will technically have lower sodium because there's less chips. The food itself is still the same horrible concoction it was before, just a little downsized and perfect for tiny hands. And since you're technically following the rules, the USDA can't really say anything about it. Another change to the USDA's rules were that school meals have to have less starchy vegetables, also known as French fries, which means that your beloved crinkle-cut fries, your curly fries, your smiley face fries, they were all under attack. So, the potato and frozen food lobbies mobilized, orchestrating waves of letters from lawmakers to Tom Vilsack, the agriculture secretary, that extolled the potato's low cost and high potassium content. When Vilsack went before the Senate to discuss his budget request for the year, Senator Susan Collins of Maine, a state that is one of the country's largest producer of spuds, marched into the hearing holding a potato in one hand and a head of iceberg lettuce in the other.
My question, Mr. Secretary, is what does the department have against potatoes?
Of course.
So the potato...
Of course. Do you see the lobbyists? Do you see how this woman sold out the children of America to satisfy her constituency in her state because they got fucking potatoes as one of their main industries? Fuck this place sometimes, really.
And frozen food lobbies won. Potatoes were now officially a vegetable. And yes, that...
Of course, officially a vegetable, officially healthy for you, officially can serve it to our kids. Oh, look, obesity exploded, diabetes exploded, mental health problems because of that, downstream effects exploded.
Includes French fries.
Holy fuck. We've reached end stage on this shit too now, because remember, obesity is genetic now. And we only did that to approve a new drug on the market that people will be on chronically for the rest of their life to manage their weight. Yeah, we redefined what it means to be fat. It's genetic now, it's not intake of food. I'm telling you, dude, you want to be healthy in the world today, pack your shit in glass. If you can't pull it out of the ground or out of a tree, don't fucking eat it. It has to come off an animal's back, period. If you can, in the future, buy organic as much as you can. You live in the United States. That's like your only protection for pesticides. And even then, it's not 100%. You do have to pay extra. It is what it is. Can't be going to Walmart buying the cheap shit. You're going to fucking poison yourself. Don't even shop in the aisles. The moment you walk into a grocery store, you're only allowed to go in the veggie and fruit section and the meat. You can't go in the rest of the store because it's all poison. Every single aisle is just processed carb poison. You walk in the store, you make your left or your right where the veggies are, where the fruits are, and then further down the deli where all the meats are kept, and walk the fuck out. Anything else is poison. It's insane.
These are the worst school lunches in the United States of America sent to us by our followers.
Today, school cafeteria food is in the most abysmal state it has ever been in, while masquerading as health. Take Domino's, for example.
My parents have always had a garden. We pick fresh as much as we can. We have walnut trees, apple, pears, and then they plant, what else? Tomatoes, a bunch of like aromatic, I guess, spices and veggies, stuff, plants you dry out to make spices out of. And they've been doing this since we came to the States. It's like a normal thing for Eastern Europeans. They always have their own little micro garden in the backyard somewhere growing as much shit as they can.
Domino's serves their Smart Slice pizza in over 13,000 schools across the US. And these Smart Slice pizzas have 33% less fat and 50% less sodium than the original version. So it must be healthier, right? Not really. On the ingredients list, you'll find soybean oil, a seed oil, maltodextrin, a food additive that increases your likelihood of developing autoimmune disorders, including Crohn's disease, and sodium propionate, a preservative that has been shown to cause damage to the dopamine system in animal subjects. Ah, yes, we're
Depression.
sure the Domino's smart...
Ah, great. So eating pizza makes you depressed. Great, dude. Let's damage dopamine. As if we don't already damage it enough with all the hedonism in society today. So even food is fucking up your ability to be happy. Okay.
Slice makes children very intelligent.
Holy
or take the
shit.
snack food giant Frito-Lay. They've got a whole collection of smart snacks for schools. And these school-friendly products seem healthier, but in reality, they're pretty much just the same as the original grocery store version.
Interesting, when we tested the study the first time, we saw this, and so we thought, well, what if we put these two products side by side? Can they tell the difference? And even then, they had trouble telling that they were different products.
GMO corn and seed oils included. And these processed foods aren't being served as a once-in-a-while treat. Kids are getting fed these abominations every single school day.
You get 2 bags of Ruffles, a pretzel, a Twix bar, and a Gatorade.
And apparently, it's making them dumber. According to Roland Zulo, a researcher at the University of Michigan, found that schools that served pre-cooked meals from private companies had lower test scores than schools who cooked food from scratch. But the biggest slap in the face is a newcomer on the school.
How do you want your fucking brain to work when you're not even getting the right amount of micronutrients needed for basic processes? Like, yeah, bro, let's grow neurons on fucking Kit Kat. Yeah, let's fire up those synapses on fucking Lunchables. Yes, totally, your kid's gonna get smarter eating this shit. Wow.
Lunch block. Lunchables.
Okay.
Lunchables, just about the most ultra-processed food you could feed a child, is now available in your school lunch.
Shit.
And just like Domino's, Lunchables are so terrible that they had to design a special version to be accepted into the school lunch program. But it's still terrible all the same. So now, America's future can choose 2 specially designed meals when they line up for lunch. Turkey and cheddar cracker stackers, or Lunchables extra cheesy.
Look at this bullshit. You think this is conducive to brain health, memory, cognition? You think this is going to get your neurons growing and forming new connections? This is neurotropic in any way? This is wild. We need meat. Meat makes your brain grow. Red meat.
Pizza. And yes, these special Lunchables do have slightly better macros than the ones in the grocery store. But you want to know what else they have? Glyphosate sprayed wheat.
Oh,
they also
shit.
have nitrates. a type of food additive that has been associated with higher rates of breast and prostate cancer, and sodium phosphate, an emulsifier that has been linked to chronic kidney disease, and the list goes on. As the old adage says, you are what you eat. And if you let big food feed your kids are...
Bro, glyphosate is the worst thing on that list, and it's nothing even is a close second. You should read up on glyphosate today. You will be shocked.
Gonna become exactly what big food wants them to be. Fat, sick, dumb, and addicted. But it's not just food that's toxic in America. Our water supply is also insanely disgusting. And it's not just fluoride that we're talking about. Our tap water also contains a whole cocktail of chemicals that have been known to cause diseases like cancer, obesity, birth defects, and lowered IQ. And we're not just talking about tap water here. It's bottled water too. Actually, bottled water might even be worse. And in our next video, we are going to expose it all and go over what you can do about it. So make sure you subscribe.
I gotta get out of here. Not even bottled water safe. They got us. It's all a scam. We're being poisoned. If you don't have a well away from society, you're done. You're done. That's it. We gotta move in the mountains. Fuck, bro. We knew tap water was bad. Now it's bottled water too. It's all a scam. I knew it. God damn it. Gotta go in the mountains, away from society, have your own well in your own garden, or else you're killing yourself. Son of a bitch. They fucking got us, boys. There's no escaping it. You have to leave. You have to do something. Fuck. Yeah, you have to have a RO system in your house. That's it. Oh man, this is some shit.